Alrighty, Mr. Ryan Bravo and Michael Bravo, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm so excited to have you guys. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, man. Thank you. Thank you for having us. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, doing well. I'm thank you again for having us.
Yeah, you guys have been a huge part of the farmers family, so it's my honor to have you guys on the show because, we have a lot of farmers agents that watch this show, and we can't talk about, farmers loyalty without the Bravo family. So, do you guys want to share a little bit about your guys' agency?
Yeah, I could talk about that a little bit. And no, I appreciate that too, Dan. And once again, thanks for having us here. I know you're a big sports fan, right? Big sports guy. And so one of the big things you always hear, what the best coaches do, what the best, players do, is they watch game film, right? Just not only of themselves, but of who they're going to be playing, who they have played, and that sort of thing. And I think that this is sort of our game film, right? Just being able to watch, the elite agent talk like you do here, or just, anybody else in our industry that, has the YouTube videos or podcasts, those sorts of things. I think that's our version of our game film. So I just want to thank you for doing this, because I think it's a really important thing that you do, and it helps a lot of people.
Oh, wow, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So that all said, our agency was started in 1979 by our father, Ralph Bravo. He started the agency back then. It's an interesting story because he actually got started because he got a speeding ticket and was in traffic school. And he saw this guy attend traffic school with him that was in this really nice Porsche. And so he struck up a conversation with the guy. And my dad was pretty much right out of college at this point. And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm a farmer's insurance agent." And so that's, he started talking to him a little bit about what that entailed and whatnot. And then he opened up the phone book and cold called a couple of district managers in the area. And that's how he started the agency from scratch back in the 70s. So kind of cool story I always like to share. But yeah, so real balanced agency. We focus a lot on life and commercial. Our dad was Life Agent of the Year back in 1989. He was made President's Council a bunch of times, and he was actually the first farmers agent to be inducted into the President's Council Hall of Fame back in what was it, 2014, Mike?
2014, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so honored to carry on the agency and have a second generation agency here. I started back in 2008, right out of college as a producer. Well, first I started, my first job was to basically pull up the notices of cancellation and call the people to pay their bills, that were behind. And so that was kind of my first introduction to picking up the phone and talking to the customers. And then transitioned into a producer before we took over the agency and the end of 2015.
Nice. And now you guys have a $12 million book of business, President's Council agents. And so Michael and you guys and Ryan, you guys own it both? Is that the way it's set up?
Yeah, so essentially how we're set up is we're a corporation, and we're each of us are a 50-50 owner. So we each have a 50% stake in the agency, which Farmers was nice enough to do that for us after my dad passed away. So we run an agency together and have different roles essentially. So we're not stopping on each other's seats. So it just kind of happened to fall into place at what we like or how we like to operate, geared toward two different lines. I like to handle the commercial aspect of the business, and then Ryan does most of the life and financial services aspect of the business. So it's kind of unique. It fell into place like that, but essentially that's kind of how we're set up on our roles on a daily basis.
That's really cool. So tell me what it was like growing up, with your father. Was it kind of like always in the plans to end up like this, or tell me about the early years as you grew up with a farmer's agent, successful agent as a dad.
Yeah. So Ryan, you want to start first, or should I go? Or
yeah, no, go for it.
Yeah. So for me, I really had no idea since until maybe midway through college, it was always kind of in the back of the mind that it could be a potential career path. One thing my mom and dad used to always tell both Ryan and I, follow your dreams, do whatever it is you want to do. And if that doesn't work out, I have the best plan B possible for you. So, was through college, and I was in college from 2006 to 2010. And so midway through college, we all kind of know what happened there, where the economy pretty much crashed and we had the mortgage crisis going on. So, I mean, midway through college, I had a good amount of people that I knew, a good amount of friends that either had to drop out or go to work just because, they didn't have, they couldn't afford their college tuition anymore because of their financial situations. And where I kind of saw the light there is that really didn't affect my family. It didn't affect our financial situation, and it didn't hinder any opportunity that I had the chance to have still. So kind of after that whole event, that whole experience, that's when I kind of thought to myself, this could be a very good and lucrative career. And I graduated in 2010 on a Saturday, and I think I went to work on Monday and have been at it ever since. So,
Oh wow. And Ryan, are you the older brother?
I'm older, yeah.
By how many years?
We're only 13 months apart,
Oh, really?
about a
That's
year.
that's crazy. I have two sons and they're 13 months apart too.
Oh, that's
uh,
awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, how was it growing up with Michael, and what was your kind of plan as you were what was your plan at?
Well, so I almost took a job actually at Franklin Templeton. That was something I was exploring. My dad was real involved on the FFS side, and so Franklin Templeton's right here in our backyard. It's probably like 3 miles from our office, the world headquarters here. So I explored an option with maybe starting off on working for them on the financial services side. Um, but yeah, I mean, I graduated college in 2008, right when everything was kind of hitting the fan there. And for me, it was more like, hey, I'm gonna at least start here. If something changes down the road, I'm at least gonna start my career here and see what happens. And then honestly fell in love with it. Just my dad started giving me more and more responsibilities. Growing up, growing up, I wasn't a huge fan just because he had, we would work here for summers and stuff, and he would have us do stuff like, stuff in envelopes for marketing campaigns or, um, just work that you don't want to do, like paper filing. We did a lot of
Mhm.
paper filing when we were kids, back when you had to have those old paper files with all the filing cabinets and, all that stuff. So that was the work I was used to doing with it. And so, it wasn't exactly enthusiastic, but as I started learning more about it and, getting licensed and, talking to customers and then eventually making sales, yeah, I fell in love with it. And, just with the opportunity farmers gives you too, with the family rights provision in your contract, it's a really, really cool thing to be able to carry on a business, over generations. So.
Yeah, because not a lot of carriers have that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I know. Yeah, there are a lot of them. You have to, buy the person out, and it can be kind of I don't want to say a mess, but it's more of a process, I should say.
Hmm.
And so, farmers definitely did right by us with allowing us to keep one agent code with both of us as owners. So it was I'm definitely no regrets. It's been a good ride so far.
Okay, great. And then yeah, what was it like in your early years as you guys kind of was working under him full time? What were some challenges and what are some of the, I mean, maybe in general, I think when it comes to family businesses, I think there might be some challenges, I guess.
Yeah.
So what will be any advice you guys have as far as working under your father or working with a brother? What type of things have you guys experienced that makes things work now?
Well, I think the biggest challenge was when, more so when he was around was, being able to separate the office from home. Because I lived at home for a period of time after college while also working here. So it's like you find every conversation tends to gear towards, what happened at the office, right? So that was a little bit of a challenge, is just trying to figure out ways to separate the two, I'd say. Um, and then as far as like where me and Mike goes, I mean, we've honestly, it's been pretty smooth sailing, knock on wood. Um,
Mm.
and I think the big thing there is just remembering, at the end of the day, we have the same goals in mind, right? To carry on his legacy and just try and grow this thing and make him proud and take care of our clients. So I'm knowing that, I think, I mean, we'll have disagreements on more micro stuff, but knowing that we have the same macro goals in mind, I think, keeps us on a right path.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing really, 5-minute conversation over a beer can't really solve. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So, but I mean, going back to my dad, I think the biggest probably challenge that dealing with from generation to generation was probably I would say evolving and new technology and that type of stuff.
Yes.
I mean, the challenge there being, I mean, our dad had 28 president's councils throughout his career, so he kind of, as successful as he was, he also had a if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know what I'm doing type of attitude as well. So sometimes introducing them to new ideas could be a little bit challenging. You had to have a certain way of doing that, but nonetheless, it's nothing really a conversation can really fix or we can agree on. So.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah. And what would you guys say was like the biggest lesson you learned from him?
He always had two rules, and it was know the products and take care of the clients and know the clients. So I think the biggest thing was just consistency and just making sure you're keeping on top of your stuff. Knowing what's going on in your market, knowing what's going on in the industry, know what's going on in your clients with their lives, and just being consistent. Reaching out to them, taking care of them. Yeah, I think those are the two big things.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from him was essentially product diversity and the fact that Farmers has one of the most diverse offering of products out in the industry. And in order to be a successful agent over the long run, it's really key to keep diverse in all products that we have to offer. Because as we seen in today's markets turn, whether it's personal lines, whether it's commercial, and if a tide turns and you're heavily invested in one line of business, it could come back to knock you in the teeth. So I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons that I learned from him is to keep diverse in all products that we offer.
Yeah. I wish we had this conversation a couple years ago.
I know, right? It's we're right in the thick of it here in California. I mean, more than most, right? And so I know he went through it in the 90s when they had an issue with earthquake before it was separated out, and he got all his homeowners policies and his whole book non-renewed.
Hmm.
And so I think that was kind of the lesson where he was like, well, I'm not going through this again, because he was very home heavy at that time. And so, yeah, it's just being able to, really, like, I mean, we're very, very good at a lot of things. And so I think that's helped us throughout this period that we're going through now, right?
I bet. And then, yeah, it makes sense that one of the things you learn is know your stuff because commercial in life, you kind of do need to know your stuff to be able to offer that. And there's a lot of more complexity probably than personal lines. So being expert and taking care of your clients, that definitely makes sense. That's one of the biggest lessons that you guys have learned.
Yeah, yeah, definitely agree.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys want to touch on this a little bit, but any thoughts on you know, the I don't know the story, but I'm not sure if you guys want to share like what transcribed in 2016 or how it happened where you guys are taking over now.
Yeah, no, we could talk about it for sure.
Sure. Mhm.
So his plan was to retire, and he kind of had the wheels. It's so weird how the timing works out, right? It makes you just makes you kind of stop to think. But his plan was to retire probably within the next, probably towards the beginning part of 2016, I think, around the first or second quarter. and he was going to stay on as an basically do operations and FFS only. He was going to, basically have the FFS business as, something to keep him busy, and then help us out on the operations side until we got up to speed. But he unfortunately passed away in November of 2015, from just kind of a freak accident. He was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called myasthenia gravis. And so, he went through about a year of testing, kind of figuring out what's going on, and then was on some medication that was, supposed to give him a nice full life. And he was on vacation down in Mexico, and he got a lung infection down there and ended up just, passing away. The doctor kind of said it's a worst case scenario with the disease and the infection that he got. He just had some lung complications. So that's what happened. He was 59, so it was pretty unexpected.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear about this. I didn't know about that. Sorry. I even asked, but
No, don't
well,
apologize. It's fairly well known, at least in the, the farmers community. But yeah, no need to apologize. It's life, right? It happens.
yeah, it hasn't happened to me, so I can't even imagine how that feels. And then it's especially if it's something that's sudden, that's gotta be 100 times harder too. So, man, what helped you guys get through that situation, and now you guys are immediately business owners? I mean, that must have been challenging to say the least, as far as just being able to move forward. What helped you guys get through that time? Would you guys say?
Well, honestly, I mean, it was pretty much the support of, Ryan, myself, my mom. We all knew. I mean, my dad was one of those, really patriarchal people who, took care of the entire family. And, all of a sudden he wasn't there anymore. So the three of us just had to get our heads together and say, you know what, we need to, take this one by one, step by step, and, we'll get through this. So, honestly, we just took everything by on a daily basis. The first and foremost big step was to complete the sale of the agency. So Ryan and I bought the agency from our mother in early 2016. And then once we had that all in place, we were pretty much just in retention mode the first year in business in 2016. So we were just calling clients. A lot of them knew what happened, and we just had to make assurances that he's not here, but we are. The agency is going to keep running, and same with our staff as well. That we want to keep all the staff on. So it was basically a year of giving people assurances that we were going to still be there for them, even with the head figure not here anymore. So it was definitely a challenging time. We had to take it one day at a time, but a lot of family support and a lot of support from our staff, our clients, and the company. And, we did pull through very well. So,
Yeah, and big thing in the back of both of our minds too was, we just didn't want to keep the lights on too, right? I mean, how many times do you hear like, oh, the kid took over the business and it's not the same, right? I mean, you hear that all the time and all varieties of businesses. And so that was like the most important thing was, meeting with especially our bigger clients that had a lot of commercial or FFS business with us, assuring them that, hey, at least give us a shot the next couple of years. And if it's not up to par, then feel free to look around. But, at least give us a shot to show that we're gonna do a good job. So yeah, it was basically that for about a year and a half. And then yeah, our staff was a huge support. They kept things going. And I do want to shout out farmers too. Farmers was fantastic with getting us through to to the other side as far as the sale of the agency and getting the new contracts in place and whatnot. And the farmers family too. I mean, that the farmers family is so strong with the community we have as agents. I mean, we had like President's Council agents calling us saying, hey, like we'll fly out and just answer the phones for you if you need it for as long as you need. I know like Curtis Corrado, Debbie Huber, Christian Slayton, Jack Jameson. I mean, if I'm missing a ton, but that's just off the top of my head. so many, we had a lot of support, from the farmer's family as well.
Absolutely.
Wow. Wow, that's great to hear. And that is something that is so valuable, being farmers agents, that we have each other, and especially when we need each other the most. So since then, I mean, you guys have such success as far as growing it after probably the first year. What helped you guys take it to this level here from growing it from, I think what you guys told me was at the time it was $7 million book of business
Yeah.
to now $12 million book of business. So not only did you guys keep the lights on, you guys have really grown the book of business, and that's something, man, your father should be, so proud of. But tell us some of the maybe the strategic moves or anything that could help, the audience when it comes to growing your agency.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing I will say is, I mean, the first year or so, we were more in retention mode. I really didn't do too many analytics about the financials of the books, or kind of, the get down to the nitty gritty, I would say. And finally, when I did get around to doing that, after the dust had settled a little bit, there were there was one really big thing that I noticed on here, which was the commercial book versus the personal lines book. So as of right now, we've got about maybe 500 commercial policies and then 5,000 personal lines policies. And when I first kind of did the analytics on that in around late 2016, early 2017, the big thing that stood out to me was about 7% of our policies were about 48% of our premium or commission income. So that's kind of what told me that, okay, commercial is a very lucrative portion of business for this book of business. So, I mean, for me, how we took it to the next level on the premium, that's kind of where I decided to get back down into the trenches and really concentrate, make that my role in the agency. So that's been a huge aspect of how we've grown premium over the years. I think we've been elite commercial agencies maybe 6 out of the 7 years since we've taken over. So, and it's just been an absolute fantastic way for us to grow our book.
Wow. Yeah, that's something we all should probably do more often, is to break down the premium off, what line of the business, and really kind of focus in on what's really bringing in the income for the agency. So that's
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
Only 7% of your policies made up 48% of the revenue.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, as a
Wow.
business owner, I mean, there's 2 words that are always going through my mind, which are maximum value. So, I mean, how can I get the most value out of my book? Whether it's, the most commission, whether it's obtaining these bonuses. So those are always, going through my mind to see how we can get this agency to the next level and keep growing. So
Yeah, because time is limited, so we got to optimize our time too. So we want to spend our time in the most income generating activities. But do you guys pretty much keep it pretty separate, as far as Michael, you do the commercial, and Ryan, you do the life, or do you guys kind of intertwine with each other's, like, those lines of businesses?
we do intertwine a little bit. We definitely kind of concentrate on what we like to do, but I'll definitely run ideas by him if I have a life or a fast prospect, and then him vice versa with commercial as well. So we definitely do work together on that as well.
Okay, great. And what would you say, Ryan, as far as what has helped you guys take it to the to a higher level since then?
I think we've done a really good job at systematizing things. We had some long discussions with our team. Pretty much our core people stayed on board and are still with us today. But that first year where I told you, we're kind of in retention mode. We also had a lot of conversations about, hey, what did our dad do that was so successful? Because I mean, he didn't have a ton of he had like a basic operating manual, but nothing, he didn't update it a whole lot. And it was mainly just, from his success and years of experience and all in his, all in his head from trial and error for so many years. Right. And so it was talking to them, talking to our clients, and, what allowed him to make President's Council 28 times. How do we have clients stick around for as long as they have? Because I mean, our overall retention rate is in the low 90%, like 92, 93%, somewhere around there. across all lines. And we've had clients that have been with us, 20, 30 years as well. So our retention is excellent. So I think basically getting all of these ideas together and putting them down on paper. So we put together a really solid operating manual through Google Docs that our team can access, and it's got everything from quote sheets, operations, how we do service work, how to answer the phone, dress code, new business checklists, how we do our policy reviews, all of those things. So I think we've developing that over time and having that system in place has allowed us to grow faster than I think we initially anticipated. Because as we onboard new staff now, we can refer them to that, and they get up to speed pretty quickly, and yeah, I think that's been a huge thing.
Yeah, systemizing it, having everything documented that way, there's no ambiguity, kind of know exactly what to do, and having it all written down. I think that's a great step for agencies to kind of have everything set up. And when you mentioned core people, when you said you had some staff that remain with you guys, so what type of tenure do they have at your agency?
So we got Nikki, our office manager. She's been with us for close to, gosh, over 30 years. She started when she was 18 in the agency. She'll kill me if I tell her, tell everybody how old she is now, but she's been with us for over 30 years. And she's she's awesome. She knows pretty much every client. She's very, very good on the phone. She knows our operations. She's basically the head of our personal lines department. So that's, she's the big one. And then Bob's our other big one. He's our commercial specialist. I always joke that he's probably forgotten more about commercial than most agents know about commercial. And so he handles all of, all the operation stuff and on the commercial side as well. So they were the two big ones that are still here.
I hear a lot of newer agents or inexperienced agents say they have a lot of issues with employee turnover. And I can imagine how that could be such a challenge growing an agency. What thoughts or tips do you have for agents out there when it comes to, having that type of results when it comes to, we talked about how great your retention is, but employee retention as well.
Yeah. So one thing I will say is, Ryan and I, we do have conversations with them, like one-on-one, probably on a quarterly basis or so. And I think what keeps them around, or what keeps them happy, is we just kind of listen at, what's important to you while working here. Because, a lot of times, agents assume it's the salary, which may not always be. Yes, that's a big part, but that may not always be the case. Like for our office manager, Nikki, she lives up in the Sacramento area. So working from home a good amount of time, that's really important to her. So that's something that we allow her to do. Or Bob in our office, he takes a lot of pride in spending time with his kids and coaching their sports teams. So give him the flexibility to, leave early on a couple of days to coach his kids' sports teams. Doing things like that, I think, have been a huge key on employee retention for us.
Mm.
Yeah, and it sounds so simple, right? But I mean, there's just so many business owners don't do it. Just assuming that, if I give them more money or offer, a bonus here or there, like, everybody will be happy. But it's really just getting to know the person, as basic as that sounds. But and then tying compensation and benefits to that, differently to everybody, and then getting everybody on board from there, right? Like, everybody knows that, everybody's going to be treated individually, and then we're going to have our team goals and team items as well. But, just staying in front of them and having those conversations with them, I think has been really, really important.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're not going to get that in a lot of other workplaces.
Yeah. Yeah, not a lot of places you could talk directly to the owner, and then the owner could be understanding, and but I think that's the key word right there, was just being a good listener and really finding out what they want, instead of trying to sell them on something or trying to motivate them in different ways that may work for you but maybe not for them.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so we try to give them bonuses on, based on various things, just besides money. when I think that's been a huge part of it.
Yeah, but 30 years. I think that's the longest I've ever heard. So kudos for you guys, man. What about just marketing strategies, you know? I mean, for some agents, it's like, okay, yeah, I want to do commercial and I want to do life. And some agents really out there are probably very knowledgeable in products, but what good is knowledge if you don't have anyone to talk to? What are you guys' thought process when it comes to, you know, finding enough people as far as new business goes?
Yeah, so that's a lot of what I do. So I do, life FFS and then the marketing stuff mainly. Mike does commercial and more of our back office stuff, operations. And so as far as the marketing goes, a couple of things. We do have a marketer that'll cold call. That's mainly on the commercial side. Her name's Samantha, and she works remotely. And yeah, so she'll basically call and set up appointments for us, for people that are interested. Commercial and then also personal lines. So if we have, we didn't used to do this, but we started doing it about probably a year or two ago. Is we diving into internet leads, mainly EverQuote, and we have had some success with them. And so our marketer will call some of the ones that we didn't close to try and set up new appointments, the X dates. So that's another thing we do. But the internet leads have been good, and they've helped us grow on the personal line side. And then we do a lot of social media stuff. Kind of my thought there is, I'll do what's called a tip of the day, where I'll basically just post something like, "Hey, make sure you review your home insurance. And if you have items like jewelry or art, there's limits on those. So talk to your insurance company if you have anything of value to find out what's actually covered." Or the higher your deductible, the lower the cost. Just basic stuff like that. Just throwing out basic free information. And I figured if I do that enough times, I'm not going to sound salesy like, oh, buy my free white paper, or something like that you see all over Instagram and Facebook. I figure if I do a lot of that stuff and I do it enough times, then people are going to see the value in what we do, and then they'll want to bring their business over to us. And we've had a lot of success with that as well. I'm trying to get away from and start doing more videos, because I think that's just more engaging nowadays. But yeah, that's that. So some social media work, and then we get a lot of referrals. So referrals from customers and referrals from centers of influence, whether it be realtors we work with, mortgage brokers. Our attorney sends us a lot of business. And then other people in the insurance industry. If this is mainly on the commercial side, but I know Mike works with a couple of brokers, and if they can't place something or they want a quote from farmers, they'll send it over our way. So we built those relationships too over the years. So that's another thing, referrals. And then we get a lot of business. We have what's called the Bravo Team Review. It's basically just an FFR, but with our branding on it. And we get a lot of business that way too, just from cross-sell opportunities. And then that's how we get a lot of our financial services business, is through the FFR.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different flows of marketing. So
Yeah.
that's awesome to have, multiple ones, and that all kind of lead to more sales for you guys.
Yeah, you kind of think of it like, if you have all the different faucets, filling up filling up the tub or whatever, just the more faucets you have on, the more the pipe's gonna fill. And so, or if one gets clogged or shut off or something like that, you still have the other ones. So just making sure you stay balanced, take that balanced approach on the marketing side too. So we're not just relying on one thing. That's at least helped us stay consistent.
Yeah. What about for the commercial, Michael, as far as marketing? When you have marketers call, what line of business do you guys like to try to lead with?
So the biggest thing that we like to concentrate on are restaurants, habitational, and real estate, because that's something that Farmers is good at. They've been good at it a long time, and we're pretty good rate wise as far as those ones. So A big thing that I do, like Ryan said, is keeping in contact with other brokers. So what I like to do is I just like to basically keep up what's going on in the industry as far as with other carriers. So I mean that kind of gives me a competitive advantage. Like for example, one big thing that happened in the industry this year is Liberty Mutual is getting off a lot of their restaurants in California.
Hmm.
So, I mean, for me, my marketing plan basically was to go for my X dates and anything that I've voted in the past that has had Liberty Mutual, I've been attacking this year pretty much. And I think we're at about 550 this year in commercial premium. I think about 300 of that has been from Liberty Mutual. So that's basically the biggest thing that I do as far as a marketing standpoint is to keep up with industry trends, see what's disturbed or where there's opportunity so I can, basically go in there and cultivate.
Wow, and it's only April right now too.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we're off to a good start.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so important to know what's going on in the market, huh? Just to like, just just to be friends with other agents out there and kind of know what's out there and that and really use information to your advantage.
absolutely.
Yeah, we have another broker, friend of ours. He's up in San Francisco, and he's a big commercial guy. And was having a conversation with him, and he's basically said, a lot of my personal lines markets are shut off. And so he goes, if I have anybody on the personal line side, or anybody that calls me on the personal line side, I can give them your number. I know we're kind of slowing that down too, but still, I mean, it's not shut off like it is in other places, right? And so, yeah, just having those relationships and I think is really, really important.
Yeah, and it also helps to be, a local agent in the area for
Yeah.
40 plus years.
Yeah, that's true. And we don't shy away from that either, right? I mean, we know we're set up in a better position than most just because of the name and because of yeah, just the recognition in our area here in the Bay. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean it's nothing to shy away from. I think that's been a huge thing and something we take advantage of.
Yeah,
Besides,
definitely the online traffic helps as well as from a marketing standpoint. I mean, most people who cold call us or just want to quote, we say, well, how did you find us? Is like, oh, you had the most and most positive reviews for farmers insurance in San Mateo. So definitely the online traffic has been very helpful for us from a marketing standpoint as well.
oh, nice. What do you guys just ask for reviews, or is that just kind of like from organically just getting them, or what do you think has led to that? Just being in business longer, or there's got to be other things besides just time in business that helps you guys get reviews.
I think so it started off organically, and then I started actively asking people on I usually do it around the first of the month. I just have it as a recurring task in my calendar to reach out to people we've recently helped or recently brought on as new clients. Hey, if we've done a good job, will you leave us a review on Yelp or Google or wherever? And especially new clients, right? Where nothing's gone wrong yet.
Yeah.
They're definitely willing to do it. So I think, yeah, we have been pretty proactive with asking for reviews too. We don't do it all the time, but we'll do it. We'll do it in bunches, and that's definitely helped.
Yeah. The best people that I feel to ask for a review are people who you help with a non-renewal. So if they come in, their current carrier is non-renewing and we're able to find them a policy with farmers and give them a good rate. I mean, those people are always so happy because nothing freaks a person more out than getting notice, oh, your insurance is non-renewing. So those customers that you're able to help out, those ones are usually the first in line to write your good review online.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and getting the reviews is huge because I think Google actually wants to recommend companies that will take care of their customers, which is, whoever's searching. So we get recommended higher, but the best time to probably ask for it is right when you set them up because like you said, Ryan, they haven't gone through any rate increases, notices yet.
Yeah, no billing issues or anything.
Before that happens.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Exactly.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, it's just a lot of good marketing ideas, referral. What would you say? And then just I think with what you guys have that really helps out is just the reputation and, and the name brand. What would you guys say you guys want to be known for as far as, when people hear the Bravo Insurance Agency, as and what do you think is what people think of in your area?
I think, well, that's a really good question. I want to say family, when people think about I can't tell you how many stories I hear, talking to various customers where it's like, oh yeah, no, I first, your dad used to come over in the evenings to do, go over our policies, and he'd have dinner with us and a glass of wine, and that sort of thing. Just you just don't get a lot of that nowadays, which is the way it's just the way consumer shopping is just in general. So I think just being to be able to be a hybrid of the way things are done now, but also that kind of that old school way of doing business, where just getting face to face with a customer and treating them like family and becoming a part of their family. I think that'd be the biggest thing, is to just be able to keep that tradition, I guess, alive. Just that thought of doing business with family.
Yeah,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
that's what better way to treat someone, than treat them as family. So
Yeah.
that's makes sense that that gives you a good reputation, because just yeah, people just care how they're treated. What about you, Michael? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, people can see through if you're not genuine. So I just think being genuine and caring about your clients' needs, that I definitely do want to be known for that. And then, like Ryan said as well, just treating everybody like family. I mean, one thing that my dad used to always do, particularly with the commercial clients as well, is once a year he would always have a little tradition with certain clients. Okay, we'll go to this restaurant, we'll do our review and do that. And I've kept a lot of those alive, where, I mean, I've a client that's been with us since probably 1985. I still meet them at the same restaurant every single year and basically do the same type of review that my dad used to always do with them. So just making them feel like family, making them feel like they haven't really skipped a beat in 30 years. So keeping little traditions like that alive has just been really key. And that's kind of what I want to be known for, is just treating people like family. So
Man, that's awesome. That's an awesome story. Because like Ryan said, that's you just don't get that. You don't get that, in today's businesses. So keeping those type of traditions and the care for the client, that really goes a long ways, and totally makes sense why you guys will get referrals doing business that way.
Yeah, and a lot of the clients now, I mean, we've been in business so long, a lot of the clients now are getting older, so now their kids are starting to take over their businesses or handle their affairs, and that sort of thing. And if they know us like family, then we're going to be able to continue on with their business, throughout the next generation as well. So yeah, I think that's really, really important. um One more thing I wanted to touch on too, Dan, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
So as far as the marketing goes, this slipped my mind until now, but I think one of the big things that we do is we do these things called just have a day at your business, and this is mainly for our commercial clients and also some of our large FFS accounts too. But what we'll do is, like for example, I did one with a company. They do hardwood flooring, and I went over there and I basically told them, hey, tell your entire staff that the insurance and financial services person is going to be in the business for for several hours on Wednesday. And so I'll come in there with food for everybody, and they set me up in just a little conference room or an office, and basically any staff member can make an appointment with me, and they can come in and just ask any confidential question about retirement, about their car insurance, about life insurance, anything they want. And so I could just free information. I basically am there to give you free advice. And we picked up a lot of business that way. Um, just on the personal line side, mainly from employees of our commercial clients. And it makes the employer look like a hero too, right? Because here you are bringing in this free, this free resource. Um, And so I think that's been something that that's pretty unique and that we've had a lot of success with. We picked up a lot of retirement plans that way. And yeah, a lot of just car and home insurance too.
Well, that's awesome because not only are you, generating new business opportunities there, but you're strengthening the relationship you have with the business owner,
Exactly
providing
right.
value to them. So it's like taking care of two things at once.
Exactly right. Yeah. And then if we do, say we'll get like a 401k or something for our business, and we're doing, that's another thing we market. Hey, the advisor for the 401k is going to be in the office. If you have questions on just your basic retirement or what you have in the 401k, he'll be there to answer them. So, yeah, that's been a really, really big thing for us.
Yeah, probably beats cold calling.
Yeah, no kidding. I'll take that. I'll take a warm call like that over.
Yeah,
Cold calling any
face-to-face
day of the week.
meeting where they're actually asking you questions. Well, I never heard of anybody mention that, you know,
Yeah.
but I think there's just so much opportunity within one great solid business owner connection. That's,
Yeah, and you kind of lose sight of like how much opportunity there is with any business, right? I mean, because every business is going to have employees, or at least a majority of them do. Um, and every employee is going to have a car, or a place they're renting, or a home they own. Every employee is going to need to retire at some point, or want to retire at some point. Most employees have a family that they need to take care of if something happens to them. So there's just so much opportunity there, and it's just a matter of, positioning yourself. Because I mean, if you're not talking to these people, there's another agent or broker out there that's going to. So, yeah, there's a lot more opportunity that I think a lot of people realize.
so the way you guys have your agency set up, is it mostly through your like local community, would you guys say? Like within like your area, like your zip code or
It's the Bay Area. I mean,
yeah.
anywhere from, San Francisco down to San Jose and in between. I mean, it's, yeah, pretty much throughout the
Yeah,
entire Bay Area.
primarily, yeah, Mid-Peninsula, Silicon Valley, but we go all over the place. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the economy picking up there during these time, the last few years, has that made a difference in your guys' business with
Yeah, good and
with the tech
bad.
companies?
Yeah, it's been good in the sense that, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, especially on the FFS side for, we've had a lot of really good cases with people just needing to do something with their money. Um, I say where it's been tougher, has been with just on the hiring side. It's tough to get somebody in here when you're competing with, Facebook, Google, and Apple and whatnot, right? Where, I mean, they can just offer a lot more than a small business can. So that's been where we've struggled with it. So but it's the good and the bad. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been, I'd say, more so good and bad for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yes, it's when you find out how much someone at McDonald's is working up there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
it makes
it's crazy.
it is crazy up there. What about just, what are you guys' thoughts on just like the way you guys do business is, the retention is great and it must be so fulfilling to like know somebody and take care of them. What are your thoughts on like if it's your future of the agency? Like, do you guys want to keep growing it or do you guys kind of have like a comfortable situation because, certain agencies kind of like to do things where they're just letting staff do all the selling and kind of do, the word scaling, they use a lot, but a
Right.
lot of the things that you guys do, maybe you can run out of time doing those type of activities. So what are you guys' thoughts on? Um, is it the ambition, or is it to grow, or is it kind of to just kind of keep it family niche and just really be able to take care of your core clients and your core staff members?
I'd say, yeah, taking care of clients is definitely a core mission that we have, but we definitely still want to grow as well. I mean, we're still pretty young guys. I'm 35, Ryan's 36. So, I mean, both of us are still pretty new in our careers. So I would say we're still in a position in our lives where we do want to keep this thing growing and hopefully be here another 44 years or so.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to just maintain. I mean, we definitely want to grow. Um, I think that's very, very important, and that's going to be. I mean, there's always there's always going to be people leaving you too, right? So I mean, if we're not if we're not marketing and we're not growing, then eventually, we're going to start going backwards. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to, we're looking to hire probably 2 more people actually right now. Yeah, no, I definitely want to grow, and we're not. There's plenty of clients that we have that have relationships with only some of our staff members too, and so that's also perfectly fine by me. We're not going to know everybody, but I think I think we can scale. I think there is definitely opportunity for us to scale and still have that family feel.
Yeah. Would you guys go after more of the bigger commissions ones, or would you guys want to grow your personal lines, or do both?
Both, I think, for sure.
I
Both.
think I would say both. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now, do you guys have kids yourselves?
Yeah, I have a wife. I've been married 5 years, and then I have a 3-year-old daughter.
Oh, nice.
And I'm a single guy.
Oh, okay, great. Do you think it'll go to the third generation?
It's definitely been in the back of my mind. We'll see. I mean, I think that'd be a cool thing.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, well, yeah, I have 2 boys too. Any parenting advice? Because one of the things that I noticed, they're 8 and 7, 13 months apart, but I keep telling them like you guys are your best friends. Like you only have one brother, and you guys will always be there for each other. But they're just so competitive with each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, that's boys, right? And I mean, Mike and I were like that too growing up. They'll grow out of that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely argued quite a bit when we were growing up, but that kind of died off once we got to high school and college era. So
Oh, really? Okay, so that's normal, right?
Yeah, that's
yeah,
normal.
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, and then but your dad was still open about you guys doing whatever you guys wanted to, though. It wasn't like always like the plan.
Yeah, Mike actually almost took a job with at the home office when he first started, right?
Yeah. So I interviewed down in Goro Hills or Westlake Village, wherever their office was at the time. So I definitely explored my options. But I mean, one thing um, my dad had seen throughout his career are agents who just tried to push their kids into going into the business, and they wanted absolutely nothing to do with it, or they just felt like they were being pushed into it, and unfortunately, they're not successful when that happens. So it was always, like I said, it was always kind of a very soft thing where he would say, do whatever you think you might like to do, but I've got the best plan B possible for you here. So
All right, I think that's gonna be my strategy with my
Yeah.
boys.
yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the third generation too. We have a friend who's actually one of my dad's best friends who's down in your way. He's got an agency in Torrance, and he's second generation, and he's retiring after being an agent for 50 years. His son's taking over, is going to be third generation. So that agency has been in place since like the early 1950s or something like that. And now
Wow,
like the
it's a
you know
farmers agency?
yeah,
Oh yeah,
the
okay,
Hepson
awesome.
agency, if you know Mark and Graham. Um, they're out of Torrance, Redondo Beach over there. But it's cool. I mean, we've known them our whole lives, and it's just cool seeing just all the opportunity there is to pass these businesses along and to keep them going for generations. It's a really, really cool thing.
It really is, and it kind of reminds me of like, when you have a professional athlete and when they have a kid and they're kind of grown into the business and they're just like prodigies and they have a
Yeah,
higher chance of being successful as that same sports player like
like
well,
Bronny.
oh yeah, or just look at your team, Steph and Clay, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so kind of reminds me of you guys.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I hope we're more Steph than some of the other ones that don't make it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could just imagine, like, growing up, going to those arenas and, learning from your father and, all the things that you pick up from each other. So definitely makes sense why you guys are successful because first ever Hall of Fame President's Council agency agent, and you mentioned the word consistent, what a great example. But it's not a given that the second generation, takes those habits and even takes it to another level. So I think it really shouldn't be taken for granted what you guys have put in as far as like the work you guys have put in.
I
Right.
appreciate that, Dan. That's very
Thank you.
nice. Yeah. It's big shoes to fill. And I mean, we're just getting started. I mean, like I said, it's only been 5, 6 years now. And so, I mean, we're
Yeah,
still
7, if you can believe it. Yeah.
7. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You lose track of time, but,
Yeah, time flies.
yeah. And I think, so yeah, I appreciate the kind words. Yeah. We're definitely trying to make him proud and trying to, grow this thing. Um, One thing I want to leave too, is, one thing he used to finish his day with every day. People always ask, what's your key to success, Ralph? And like, what's something that I can implement? Um, One simple thing he did, and he did this every single day throughout his entire career, is he would always end the day with trying to set at least one appointment of some sort would be the last thing he did. So whether it be a policy review, a life appointment, if he could close the day with setting one appointment and then that be the last thing he did before going home, he's like, I'm always going to be successful. I'm always going to have momentum going into the next day or the next week. I'm always going to have a lead or an opportunity. Whether took him 100 calls or 2 calls, he always ended the day with one sort of appointment on the calendar.
Hmm. Yeah, that's powerful because it's just usually that one extra activity, instead of calling it a day, just one last appointment and keep on doing that every single day, how that adds up. Um, I, yeah, I think that's great because it just keeps the momentum going. And a lot of times it's just making that one extra effort, whether it be in sports or if you're calling somebody or, if you have a task to do, it's just sometimes it's just the extra repetition, the more activity you do, the better. So given that really makes me feel like he really wanted to give it his all and to be able to just clock out before he clocks out.
Yeah, and I mean, you could be having the worst day possible. You could lose, a $500,000 account. But he always used to say, if I have that one appointment that I scheduled, who knows what the opportunity is going to be from that one. So, he never, yeah, it always allowed him, no matter what happened throughout the other, 8 hours of the day, at least end the day with some momentum and, you know, uh, and some hope going into the next day.
Did that cause him to sometimes come home later?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. But you know what? Yeah, we understood. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, like I said, sometimes it's making 100 phone calls
Mhm.
to get that one appointment. But or sometimes it was quick. But yeah, I mean, there were times when he would come home late for sure.
What about you guys? What are you guys' work, work hours? Do you guys have a pretty good balance there, or do you guys really put in the hours, or what's your guys' situation right now? I know it's just a great business because we're so flexible there. I think some agents take, maybe a little bit advantage of that, or if you're a family, just it's a great opportunity to have that. But on your guys' situation right now? Um, what do you guys' schedule look like?
I'm like, go for it.
So for me, I like to get my morning started pretty early. I wake up about 4:30 every morning during the week,
Oh,
and
wow.
when I wake up, I go through my emails, and then after I kind of go through my emails, I go to the gym and just kind of get my mind kind of ready for the day, or just kind of figure out how I want to answer some of these emails. And then from there, I usually get into the office maybe about 8:30 or so, get the day started, and usually here till maybe about 6 o'clock or so, give or take. And depending on the day, I like to be out in the field a lot, meeting with clients as well, or out doing inspections, whatever the case may be. And then I'm usually home by maybe about 6:30, 7 o'clock or so, and just kind of rinse and repeat during the week on that routine. So
Wow, I love it. That's that's definitely putting the hours in.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's a nice thing you could do when you're single. So I almost envy that schedule.
Yeah, me too.
What about you, Ryan?
So I'm usually up about 6, and then yeah, I'll either go for a run, or I'll knock out some emails before everybody. Well, before my daughter's up, I'll say. My wife's up pretty early because she usually starts work about 7:30. And so I'll take my daughter to daycare then. She starts daycare at 8:30, so I'm usually in about 9. And then yeah, I'm usually out of here by 6, just depends 6:30, depending on what's going on. But
Mhm.
but it is nice to have that flexibility. Like I can come in at 9, and be able to take my daughter to daycare every morning. It's our cool little time together in the mornings. So it's yeah, the flexibility is amazing.
It really is, yeah. So that's really what I'm really, there's so many things to be grateful for in this business. You know,
Mhm.
like you said, Michael, when you first started in the business, you realize it's pretty recession proof. And then having the support, from your colleagues when, life gives you challenges.
Yeah,
So it's just something that I think a lot of agents kind of take for granted, what it means to, have this opportunity. And what it's done for your family is like a real great story of, what being part of the Farmers family is all about. So
absolutely.
I'm just really happy to be part of it and get to know you guys better. And yeah, just hear your story. I mean, it's really a great one. That all that work you did, as a dad, and to be able to kind of have that continue even when he's not here. I mean, I wouldn't be able to ask for anything more from my sons if they wanted to go that
Yeah.
direction. But yeah, that's just a beautiful thing, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dan. I
absolutely.
appreciate
Definitely
that.
take a lot of pride in continuing the legacy. So
Yeah, just remember you're giving them the best plan B. The best plan B out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna plant that seed. Yeah, but
Yeah.
secretly I wanted to be plan A, but I would just to be safe, I'll play it the way your dad did. But I think
yeah,
maybe the
I'm sure
plan
our
along,
dad did too.
yeah, because yeah, nothing can make him happier than seeing, him be able to leave you guys the opportunity in the great life that we have. So yeah, thank you so much, Ryan and Michael, for being part of the show.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you for having
and
us.
yeah, it was great talking to you guys, and looking forward to keeping in touch with you guys and meeting you guys in person in one of these events, and
Yeah.
seeing you guys continue to grow together.
I appreciate that, Dan. And thanks again for
Yep.
the opportunity here. And man, keep kicking butt. You're doing amazing stuff yourself. And thanks for all you do for the community as well. With stuff like this, all your posts and this show. It's awesome stuff, man. So just keep it up. You're doing amazing things.
Yeah, no, I like how you said it's kind of game film,
Yeah.
but hopefully agents can watch this. And I know that they watch this one, there's a lot of things to learn, especially for me, commercial and life is something that I'm pivoting to. So I learned a ton myself. And then maybe once I figure that out, then I'll ask you guys about FFS. We didn't even get to that, but you guys are
Yeah.
just so far along than where I am. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was able to learn a lot, and yeah, great knowledge there. So I really appreciate it, guys, for your time.
Thanks, Dan.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
All right, I'll see you guys.